As the year 2020 came to a close, thousands of students and parents were reflecting back on the 10-month-long forced school closures, which resulted in thousands of children missing out on their education.
I'm home because of COVID-19. I heard it killed people and you need to take good care of yourself.
Perpetual Ahoing is among the many Ghanaian children who had to stop school due to the outbreak of the virus. The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in a televised address on March 15, banned all social gatherings and ordered the closure of all basic schools and universities in the country.
All universities, senior high schools, and basic schools, i.e. public and private schools, will be closed Monday, 16th of March 2020, till further notice.
Schools across the country had to comply, despite their reservations. Caroline Masope is an assistant headmistress of the Osu Presbyterian Preparatory School, a mission school in Accra.
We were disappointed because we had a lot of us learners who had not yet finished paying their terms fees. And we knew if this went on for a long time, it would disturb our financial status. So we were thinking of what to do, but then we had to obey.
1, 2, 3, right?
In Ghana, the initial school closure directives allowed final year students in both junior high school and senior high schools to continue attending school to prepare for their final exams, with schools ensuring that social distancing and enhanced hygiene protocols were observed. Subsequently, on March 23, 2020, and following the West African Examination Council's decision to indefinitely postpone West African Senior High School Certificate Examination, WASSCE, the Ghana Education Service directed schools to release the JHS and SHS3 students to go home until the President's directives were reversed. President Akufo-Addo also directed the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Communications to ensure that they roll out distance and remote learning programs for all students. The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation collaborated with the Ghana Education Service to use radio and television as a means of providing content to all levels of students from kindergarten to senior high school. A report published by Child Rights International, a non-governmental organization, in November 2020 said the digital platforms reached only 5% of the children in the regions, namely Bono, Ahafo, Ashanti, Western and Eastern regions. Television and radio coverage reached 32% of children surveyed, except in Greater Accra. The report further stated that 6 out of every 10 children said they used peer and parental support in learning. Charlotte Hesse is a guardian in Accra. Her 2 wards, Pokia and Utubia, aged 12 and 9, attend a public school near their house.
The smaller one, she's in class 1. They've been doing Ghana Learning Radio, GBC, all over the country. Sometimes 10 to 10:30, sometimes 11 to 11:30, sometimes 4 to 4:30.
Okay, does anyone have a favorite story? Let's see.
Nadine Fans is a nursing mother and a banker. She has 2 of her children attending a private school in Accra. Her ward's school was one of the few schools in the capital to roll out the virtual learning program during the closure.
When the virtual learning started, I was actually on maternity leave. So I was already home with the kids. But the additional responsibility of having to teach them at home was so much for me because I had a new baby, and you know, getting new babies are already, I mean, a whole package before you add the virtual learning, so it was really stressful for me.
Soon, Nadine's maternity leave ended and she had to combine the arduous task of reporting to work and also assisting the kids with the virtual learning.
I remember one of the days, my little one, he's in KG2, they were treating types of soils. And I mean, understanding the whole concept of loamy soil, sandy soil, it was so abstract to him. So I have to listen, understand it, and explain to him. And normally we do our virtual learnings around 10. I get home around 7. By the time you do one or two things, sit down, it's around 8. Normally when I get home, I'll tell them to log on and start listening. But trust me, they are not listening to anything. You know, they are children, they have to be guided throughout. Sometimes you have to take pictures and upload them in the classroom. Sometimes the questions are on Google Forms. So then we'll put them, that one is quite easier because you just answer and submit.
You see there is they in this point of view, but they belong to the first person. Why is there they here? Can you explain to me?
The virtual learning program, rolled out by some private schools, came at a cost many parents found difficult to absorb. However, not all schools attached a fee to the virtual learning program.
When school was not in session, each class was asked to create a WhatsApp platform, and we were given assignments on the WhatsApp platform. So some of us were given exercises. Some parents were coming in for those exercises. So anytime they returned the exercises, the teachers would come around to mark and then give another one.
Most of these virtual learning programs could not factor in the needs of all children with disabilities. According to the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF, children with disabilities in Ghana often lose out on education because they are invincible in data and overlooked during the implementation of education programs. Amelia Jenkel has 2 children, a boy and a girl. Both children attend a private school in Accra. Her 10-year-old Nana Kwame Boateng Apia is living with cerebral palsy, the most common motor disability in childhood. Even before COVID-19, many parents with special need children in Ghana have had to live with the harsh reality of inequalities in the education sector.
I went to the proprietor. You know, we pay for those things. So when I went, immediately I got there, he said, oh, mommy has to pay so and so fees. But then he said, oh, Nana dear, Nana cannot partake in the class, so Nana shouldn't be paying. Actually, when they said it, I didn't ask any question because I knew, said, there is no way they will have that expertise of teaching him online.
The report, published by Childwise International, also indicated that despite the alternative measures put in place, 89% of children complained that distance learning platforms have not been an effective way of learning as compared to classroom settings. Over 70% of children claimed that they had no support or encouragement from their parent regarding their studies. It also revealed that an average of 28% of children stated that performing excessive activities for their parent affected their learning during the school closure. But that was not the situation at the Francis home. Her children, Jaden and Jason, got the needed support from their parents.
Initially, my husband wanted us to get a teacher to teach them. So that was also around the COVID time. So they actually have one already, but during the COVID time, we asked him to stop. We asked him to stop coming. So he was like, well, let's bring the man to come again. So I was like, this man who goes to different homes to teach children. So it's kind of high risk. I'm like, oh, let's do it ourselves. So I mean, if you want to do it yourself, it will come with a price.
Children and parents were not the only ones affected by the closure of schools. Private teachers and school owners were the worst hit. According to the Education Sector Annual Review 2018, during the 2017-2018 academic year, 45% of schools in Ghana were privately owned. Education Management Information Systems data for 2017 and 2018 also indicated that out of 365,618 teachers employed in the educational sector in Ghana, from crèche to junior high school, 33.5% are engaged in private schools. Unlike their counterparts in the public schools, who were guaranteed salaries, the situation was different for teachers in private schools. For many of the private teachers, the announcement by the president on that fateful day ushered in the beginning of their woes.
It was a blow because there was no expectation. We did not expect this.
It hurt me. I became frightened because of fees which we used to pay teachers.
Non-payment of arrears owed by a parent meant salaries of both teaching and non-teaching staff was going to be another problem for private school owners. There were also media reports that some private schools impacted negatively by COVID-19 laid off staff. Some also adopted payment of house salaries to their staff.
March, we were able to give them full salary. April, we were able to give them full salary. Even with that one, we had to go to our bankers for a special overdraft. And so that was what helped us to even give them the full salary March and April. And the whole problem started from May.
The situation was, however, a bit different at the Osu Presbyterian Preparatory School.
We went back home, we were paying our teachers, we paid them up to June. And we realized that after June, after July, we could not pay them their full salaries. So we had to slash down salaries to 50%.
Concerned about the plight of its members, the Ghana National Council of Private Schools made several efforts to lessen the suffering imposed by the closure of schools.
That necessitated us to write a petition on the 23rd to the office of the president. So when we got there, we were able to submit a petition and we were referred on the 4th of May to meet the Ministry of Finance, because it's all bossed by financial issues. And what and behold, we met the Ministry of Finance, the Deputy Minister of Finance, Honorable Abina Asabia Asari, MP for Etiwa. So when we met them, we presented our case and submitted 94,000 names of teachers that have been affected by them. And from 4,300 schools that were able, because we opened our portal and they applied that they want to get some support. So we spoke to that data. And the assurance was that the ministry, as the Minister of Finance, will liaise with the cabinet to get us some kind of support. And we were also directed to go to MBSSI to facilitate or start the processes of getting some kind of cap bus support that the government launched.
On May 19, 2020, President Akufo-Addo launched the 1 billion Coronavirus Alleviation Program Business Support Scheme. This relief fund, which is managed by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, is administered to eligible businesses through the participating financial institutions and selected telecommunication companies. The president said the scheme is targeted at micro, small and medium enterprises in the formal and informal sectors which have been affected by the economic downturn caused by the pandemic. This ignited hopes for private school owners, but that hope was to be short-lived.
The MBSSI came in. I thought it was a good thing. So, in fact, I was really happy. So, I quickly went to their office, Accra, all to get a blow, to find out, you've written to me that it's approved. I went there, it was 0. I applied about 150,000.
She is not the only one unhappy with the disbursement of funds.
I belong to NACOPS. We applied to NACOPS. And series of meetings that we have had as an association with the Secretariat. We have had series of engagements, Ministry of Finance, Education, all over. Up to today, I don't know whether maybe in the evening that whatever maybe I have applied for will hit my account. I can't tell. So you can imagine, some are even taking 1,500. So in a nutshell, our association, NACOPS, we didn't get a PESWA. I have also applied. I've not even gotten a text message.
On November 26, 2020, Human Resource Manager for NACOPS, Prince Kweku Nsi, in an interview with a radio station in Accra, indicated that out of the 645 private schools that applied for the loan, only 20% have secured something out of what they requested for. Christiana Techi, whose school has been running for over 35 years, feels her world crumbling at her feet.
Now I think my investment is going down the drain. It was an investment. I know I'll grow and a teacher. And I have love for the children. So I have been in it all my years, all my lifetime. And then getting to the end now, with this age, look at what I'm suffering.
At the heart of this situation is the predicament of private teachers.
It was very terrible because knowing very well that I'm in a private school, here parents pay and then the school pays you. So I knew that one, my salary was going to be cut off because the school wouldn't be able to keep on paying us while we were closed down. It was too early for frustration to start, but honestly, it started that morning. Yes, that's how it was. So, how was I going to survive this whole period with a newborn baby?
Our purpose of being here today is to help address some challenges confronting our educational system in Ghana.
To drum home their plight, the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, at a press conference held in Accra on October 15, 2020, directed all private school workers to don morning clothes for 2 weeks.
I hereby announce that from Monday, 19th October 2020, all private school managers and workers are to begin wearing funeral outfits.
Subsequent announcement by the President on August 11, 2020, saw the return of second-year students of junior and senior high schools.
Because even when we started with them, there are some who are not even catching up and all that. So the corona has really disturbed our children a lot.
The reopening of schools for Form 2 students came along with mixed reactions.
When the president spoke on the 15th of March, I wasn't happy because we were going to write an exam to be promoted to another class.
I was not happy because we were supposed to learn some new things for us to go to Form 3. So when the president told us not to come to school again, I was not feeling happy. So I had to obey his rules and decide to stay at home.
As a way of ensuring prompt payment of fees, many of these private schools implemented stringent measures.
I've decided not to let it open, so you get the money, you come and pay. No, I have decided to break it down weekly. So the total amount that is to be paid within the whole month and the whole term is divided according to the number of weeks you'll be spending. Now that we have done it weekly, every week I insist that you pay. I insist that you at all costs you have to bring it.
Schools finally reopened fully on 15th January as directed by President Akufo-Addo in his 21st address to the nation. This brought relief to private school owners and teachers. Phyllis Sefako Kunawoto is a private school teacher at Osu Presbyterian Preparatory School.
I was scared about the COVID, so stepping out to teach was a bit difficult for me because I was thinking about my health as well. So I was home throughout. And that is all. I was home throughout, reading, sleeping and resting and all that. In actual fact, we were very scared because we listen to the news a lot and what goes on. So we were very scared. But upon a second thought, we were happy, we were coming back to our job.
For head teachers like Caroline Masope, this was a good time for management and teachers to put in place measures ahead of the return of pupils to school.
We had to strategize, so we came together, brainstormed. Then we realized that we needed to get more classrooms. Fortunately, we had enough classrooms, so we had to separate the young ones, and then the teaching assistants and all that. Then we had to get enough Veronica buckets and all the protocols ready before the children arrived.
Non-payment of fees by pupils was one major challenge faced by many private schools during the 10-month school closure. With the return of pupils in school, authorities had to deploy tough measures regarding school fees.
The cashier had to do that. In fact, not only with the new entrants, but with the continuing students as well. So if you don't want your child to stand or to be detained at the gate, you come and settle. We had some parents who misunderstood the whole thing.
According to Caroline Masope, some parents were unhappy with the measures rolled out by the school authorities. The success of this could bring an end to the woes of private school owners and teachers.
Now we have 75 for this month, for February. But from March, the board had assured us that we'll be going back to the 100%. As I said, there were some who were coming to teach the Form 2s and the Form 3s. So they were on the 50%. And then those who were at home had the 25%. Then from January, when we started collecting the fees, we had the 25% increment. So those who were on 25% shot up to 50%. And then those who were on the 50% had 75%. Then from February, we all had the 75%.
The reopening of schools also meant the strict enforcement of the safety protocols. Some people say this has not made school exciting like it used to be.
Due to the social distancing, it has made school dull. I haven't been able to do sports, worship, singing, club meetings, and many more.
Abigail Okante handles the children at the creche department. According to her, despite the ages of the children, their level of understanding about the disease and the protocols is commendable.
By His grace, we were able to control them and manage them well. We have been using the sanitizers, washing hands, and obeying the protocol rules. Some of them, they will come, they will tell you, even they will open their palms, then it means they want to wash their hands. Or you put, some of them to have sanitizers. They put on, they use their sanitizers themselves.
When the schools were reopened, some parents were apprehensive that their children would get infected in the schools. With the vaccines available, a lot more will change as the world continues to learn how to better manage unsettling situations like COVID-19. The producer of this report, Beryl Ernestina Richter, is a fellow of the Africa Women Journalism Project. This report is supported by the Africa Women Journalism Project in partnership with the International Center for Journalists.